Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about cephalosporins. So the cephalosporins, just like the penicillins, they are also beta-lactam drugs because they are having a beta-lactam ring in their structure. So before we go deep, since the mechanism of action of cephalosporins and the penicillin also is the same, that is to inhibit the synthesis of cell wall in the bacteria, we have to have a quick overview on the bacteria itself. So this is the structure of the bacteria. So this is the structure of the bacteria. So this is the flagella for movement. This our concern of this presentation is this cell wall. This is the cell wall. So this cell wall, it is having a protein associated with it. Number one, we have the penicillin binding protein. Number two, we have the transcriptase protein. This transcriptase protein, it is the one which contribute in the production of this cell wall. So the function of this cell wall to this bacteria is to inhibit too much water passing into the bacteria, which may lead to lysis and damage to the bacteria. So the mechanism of action to this cephalosporin, the mechanism of action to this cephalosporin is to bind itself, is to bind to the transpeptidase and inhibit it. So, but before it binds to this transpeptidase and inhibit it, it has to associate itself with this penicillin binding protein. When it associates itself, then it has the ability then to inhibit this transpeptidase enzyme. So when it is inhibited, then there is going to be no synthesis of this cell wall. So without cell wall, water will enter into the bacteria and then kill the bacteria. So now we are going to see the generations because as well as the penicillin is divided into broad spectrum, narrow spectrum. So the cephalosporin is also divided into some generation. We have first generation, like first class. We have second generation. So for the first generation, just remember the word cepha, cephalosporin. Any drug you see with cepha, pH, so it means it is from the first generation cephalosporin. For example, we have the cephalexin. We have another drug called cephalofin. But we have a drug which is first generation cephalosporin but do not have this pH, which is known as cefaxolin. So this is the cefaxolin. So this is the only cephalosporin that do not have this pH. So what is the job of this cephalosporin, first generation cephalosporin? The most important clinical use is they are used to prevent infection during surgery. That is to prevent infection during surgery. And also it is used also against some bacteria like gram-positive cocci. All the gram-positive cocci are sensitive to these gram-positive to this first generation cephalosporin, with the exception of these methicillin resistant staphylococcus aureus. So this is a naughty bacteria. This is only treated with vancomycin. So now for the pharmacokinetics, this first generation cephalosporin cannot be used to treat an infection of central nervous system because it cannot or they cannot cross blood brain barrier. So that's it. So moving to the next generation, we have the second generation cephalosporin. So for the second generation cephalosporin, the most important ones we have the cefotetan, which is also used for prevention of infection during surgery, and we have ceforaxim. So something which is very special for this ceforaxim is that this ceforaxim, it is the only drug in the second generation cephalosporin that can cross the central nervous system. CNS crosser. So we have to know this point. So because this can come out in an examination, for example, objectives. So we have the third generation cephalosporins. So the third generation cephalosporin, most important drug, we have ceftriaxone. This is the most important, which is given IM. We have cefotaxime. So these are the most important drugs that are found in this class. So since this cephalosporin, they have a unique feature among the all generations of cephalosporin. They have the ability to cross the CNS. So they cross this blood-brain barrier, so it can be used to treat any infection, which is bacterial infection that affect the central nervous system, more especially meningitis. That is caused by Neisseria meningitidis. So this is a bacteria that used to cause uh, meningitis. So these ceftriaxones, because they are lipid soluble, they can cross the blood-brain barrier and then kill this bacteria. But among the third generation cephalosporin, we have another kind of drug, especially like subnidib. So and much more. So now we are moving to first generation cephalosporin. So the most important drug here in this first generation cephalosporin is given IV, which is called the cefapin. Cephapin, which is given IV. So this drug is wide spectrum actually, and can have the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. So it can be used to treat brain infection. So now we are going to talk about the clearance of the cephalosporin. When we take the cephalosporin, how they are going to be cleared from our body? Mostly, if not all, they are all excreted through the renal clearance. That is to say, all of them are excreted by the kidney, with the exception of one. So we have to know the exception, which is the ceftriaxone. Because it is lipid soluble, it has to be excreted inside bile. So renal clearance for all cephalosporin except the third generation. Because the third generation are lipid soluble. So that's it. So now we are going to talk about the side effect of these drugs. The most important side effect associated with the penicillin and the cephalosporins is hypersensitivity. Hypersensitivity. So this is the most important uh, side effect. So if any person is having an allergic to penicillin, so this means there is high tendency to have allergic to cephalosporin. So someone who is having a hypersensitivity reaction due to administration of this cephalosporin, he has to be changed to a drug called macrolide, like clarithromycin, azithromycin. So that kind of drugs macro are called macrolide killers. So these macrolide can substitute cephalosporin in the time where the cephalosporin are having reaction in the body who uh, 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 get administered. So now we can say we have miscellaneous. So miscellaneous. So for any drug, because sometimes the bacteria can produce a protein called beta lactamase. So whenever bacteria produce this beta lactamase is an enzyme that is produced by the bacteria, which go and break the beta lactam ring that is found in the drugs. So if this beta lactamase break the beta lactam ring, so this means the beta lactam ring so this means the drug can no longer function. So what we used to do is we used to co-administer. We used to co-administer. That is to administer the drugs, be it cephalosporin or penicillin. So we used to co-administer the drugs with a drug that can inhibit the function of this beta lactamases. So with a they co-administer the drugs with a drug called clavulanic acid. So this clavulanic acid can inhibit this beta lactamases. So this beta lactamases, so that means the beta lactamases can no longer break the beta lactam ring in the drug, that is in the penicillin or the cephalosporin, allowing the cephalosporin and the penicillin to kill the bacteria. So this is the end of this lecture about cephalosporin.